All right, now we're going to unmute for Bill Grabowski, if I pronounce that correctly, Bill. There you are. Okay, I got a bunch
Yeah,
of
I sure
people on
did.
my dashboard here. So,
Yeah.
uh, you're head of North America for AdaSky, which I was talking to Scott Fosgard previous to make sure I understood what you all do. And you create thermal sensors for autonomous vehicles to detect pedestrians, animals, objects, and any other thing you don't want to run over, essentially, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. The
Yeah,
things
running
that,
over things is a bad thing to do with an autonomous vehicle. I know I saw that Tesla experiment about a year ago, right? Where the woman was texting and ran over that bicycle guy
yeah,
or something. Yeah,
yeah, tragic. Yeah, there's the pedestrian increase in pedestrian traffic deaths and accidents overall has been skyrocketing over the last 10 years. So
yeah.
that's what we're all about.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit. Let's start off with I'm just getting introduced to all these companies, and I know Scott Fosgard has got clients all over the place because he's always on the road. So, where are you guys located?
So we are out of Israel. We're a startup that's just emerging now out of that phase. We're about 5 years old with about 85 people located in Haifa, Israel. And we just opened our North American Technical Center here in Livonia, Michigan, and we've got three people now part of our team.
Yeah, I was at Cyber Week in 2017 and got a chance. I was a guest of the Israeli Foreign Ministry and got a chance to see a lot of the technology that's in development in Israel, and it's very impressive, actually.
Incredible technology and talent coming out of Israel. The ideas, the amount of IP and new patents that are generated is incredible. So it's a tremendous ecosystem that our team is part of, and we're bringing some really great ideas on this thermal imaging sensing that is going to help us avoid pedestrians and objects, and not just autonomous vehicles, Mike, but also just active safety, emergency braking situations. This is technology that's going to really help us get over the hump.
Yeah, I was going to say, tell me a little bit about the backgrounds of the founders of this company. How did they come to sort of establish this kind of technology firm?
So a lot of the thermal imaging technology, and I'll give you just a brief synopsis of this technology. It was invented or discovered, I would say, back in the 1800s, so it's not new. And it was first deployed in the automotive sector in 1999 on the Cadillac Fleetwood DeVille. And where it came out of, and this is the device. It's very small today, but it started out about the size of a brick embedded in that Cadillac, and came out of the aerospace industry, where all the thermal imaging has. The Israeli team for AdaSky was born out of the military development, but their path 10 years ago was to take that brick-sized type technology and change it from an analog to a solid state invention. So we've been able to eliminate a lot of the size requirements, the heat sink requirements, the mechanical portions of this to create this very, very small, elegant, easy to package device that we can put into an automotive grade package now. And importantly, you might ask, why haven't we seen this proliferate in the automotive sector? It's been around since 1999. Two reasons. One, it's been so doggone big, the automakers can't package it. And secondly, it has been an enormously expensive proposition. So what we've been able to do is bring this forward with a much smaller package at a very cost-effective price.
So what you've seen here is essentially heat-seeking missile technology being adapted to increase safety in moving vehicles. It sounds.
Yeah,
like.
that's a great part about this technology. Thermal imaging is entirely passive, so it's seeking heat.
Yep.
Every object is emitting radiated energy. You and I, every vehicle on the road, every object out there has some kind of a heat signature, and the technology is so precise that you can differentiate between down to 0.01 degrees centigrade temperature differences and be able to describe an image passively. We create this great image, and you've seen the images and the thermal cameras for the military, the kind of green. Well, we've improved the technology so that the image you see is very clear, almost HD, just in a black and white sense.
Yeah, I suspected when you talk thermal technology that I know its origins were the military, because they've got that down cold and have for some time, particularly the Israelis. So they're really good at that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, our CEO is a general in the Israeli military, as is our VP of sales. He's a F-16 pilot. My CEO, Yakov, is still an active member of the reserve, and he does training missions, flying Apache helicopters where they use this technology. So they're well familiar with it. They know the power of it and how it can improve the opportunity on the automotive side.
So tell us what gaps in existing auto safety technology this technology fills. What are the gaps that are?
Yeah, so great question. And we've been looking at, and I've been in the auto industry for 38 years, and I spent most of my time with Jeep and Chrysler, Daimler Chrysler, Mike, back in the days when you were writing about Daimler. And
oh, you remember that, huh? Yeah, that was 20 years ago. So
yeah, I lived that dream. I was there, and so we had really good understanding of this potential with this technology. But what we found with the thermal imaging is that it fills the void in the areas where daytime cameras and radars just can't discern objects today. In total darkness, for example, or in inclement weather, bad weather, snow, rain, fog. And then in that use case, that edge case that you've seen where vehicles are driving directly into sunlight and are being glared completely, cameras are being glared. We don't have that problem. We see if you point this camera directly at the sun, you'll see a glowing orange or bright orb in the sky, but you won't be blinded. You'll see the pedestrian that's right below the sun. So it's filling in those gaps, and we're seeing that this combined. We're not suggesting that thermal imaging cameras would be the end all and be all. We're saying in conjunction with a daytime camera, with a radar, those three components will give you the sensor suite you're going to need to do autonomous driving, back down to level 2+ highway pilot.
So yeah, you bring up an interesting point there, and I probably should have. We had our previous guest was John Chin with his sort of LiDAR type technology. And here in Michigan, in particular, where we have the four seasons where you're going to get snow on your sensors and different things, how does that affect thermal imaging? Does that change it at all or not?
Well, I think all the sensors have to be cognizant of dirt and snow and ice buildup, and you have to have a mechanism on the vehicle to help prevent that. We have an internal heater on our camera, for example, that would help melt the snow or condensate. Automakers will package a high pressure jet spray to also clean the lensing on the cameras or the radar, even if needed. But it's a challenge everybody has in order to package this in. And the nice thing with the thermal camera is that we actually can see through a lot of the debris and the snow. It doesn't really affect the imaging. In fact, we see that, especially in Michigan, you have a snow-covered road and you're out trying to find the lane in a snowstorm. Our technology can actually see 2 or 3 inches below the road surface and tell you where the shoulders of the road are with respect to the pavement. So even if it's snow-covered, you have an idea of the pathway.
Yeah, that would be good because I've been in those situations where you slow down to 10 miles an hour because you can't see anything and you're wondering why you're even out there, right? So,
And you don't know really where the edge of the road is either.
yeah, that's the scary part, So,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And in the real world, these are use cases that happen all the time here in the northern climates, and you have to ask yourself, well, what's the option if I have an autonomous vehicle or if I'm using active safety emergency braking? I can't just say stop the vehicle, pull over to the side of the road. I need I need a solution that we can drive in these type of weather conditions, which are normally occurring. So we think this is going to be a powerful addition to the sensor suite. And by the way, we are getting a lot of subscription from the automakers and the tier ones interest in doing evaluation testing. We've progressed now to the point we have a number of RFQs in process, and we've been actually awarded a very nice program from one of the local Detroit OEMs.
We won't tell anyone. Go ahead. Which one is that?
I'll say it's not Daimler Chrysler.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not even sure what that. We were joking last week. Chrysler changes its name so many times, I've lost track of what they call it now. So,
yeah, I think Chrysler's had more. I think Chrysler's had more marriages than Zsa Zsa Gabor at this point.
Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah. So at least Jeep is still out there. I don't see your Mudhead hat. You're a big Toledo Mudhead fan, right? Or not?
Well, I've spent a lot of time in Toledo. Believe me, I love Toledo. Tony Paco's.
Oh yeah,
that was our routine. We would go down and spend a week in the plant, make our way back up, stop at Tony Paco's.
All right. So you got the one big OEM deal now. Are you also? I know there's GM and others have very cold winter testing facilities in the UP. Plus, of course, just down the road from where I am in Ann Arbor, you have the Center for Automotive Research. Are you working with those folks at all?
Yeah, we've done some things with cars, and we have been working. There's a company called VSLI that does some research out of the facility in Ypsilanti, and so we're getting some traction with the consumer agencies as well. I wanted to mention that our camera is being evaluated right now by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. And they're looking at how thermal cameras can help in the active emergency braking situation. It's a great thing that cars are being equipped with AEB. All the automakers have committed to put it on the cars at 100% take rate. The challenge is they're not working so well at night. In fact, there's testing done by AAA that showed of the 4 vehicles they tested, none of them passed the nighttime AEB testing. So that's coming. It's a new development. The consumer agencies, the Insurance Institute, NHTSA are starting to put their eyes on how do we get these AEB systems to perform at night. And as it turns out, thermal cameras are a very nice technology to help us get there.
Yeah, it's a brave new world. I remember back with my 69 Camaro. I mean, back in the old days when we didn't have any of this stuff to worry about. Now, my gosh, of course, with the microchip shortage, we can't even get the new cars out the door, right? Let alone fix the old ones.
Right. So go back and see if that 69 is still available. But, with the advances we've made, and I love old cars, I'm sure you do. They're part of our history, and we grew up with them. But I have second thoughts sometimes about getting into those things and driving them, given what we know now.
Yeah, they weren't built all that well and certainly weren't very safe. But when you're 19 years old and, you don't think about things like that, right? So
just going fast. But you know what? If we had thermal cameras on those cars, these can see up to 250 meters. We can identify pedestrians and objects in the road. So even at highway speed, 70, 80 miles an hour, you've got a chance to get out in front of it and avoid the accident.
Yeah.
All right, Bill, we're in our last minute now. Why don't you give us some contact information for you in case the listeners and viewers here want more information?
Absolutely. Sure. You can reach me at bill.g@adasky.com directly. We have a website, www.adasky.com. We have a YouTube channel, which I'd encourage everybody to go take a look at. We've got 7 or 8 different scenarios that show you this camera operating in those edge case conditions, bad weather, bright sunlight, headlamp glare. You'll see a great portfolio of performance on the YouTube website.